It's so weird, right? Anybody who knows me knows that I don't love lotioning, but I talk with my hands a lot, so I figured, probably be better to not have completely ashy hands. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone? Mr. B Status, what's going on? Miss J Monet, what's up, what's up? Mo, what's going on? Oh my goodness, happy to see everyone. Hi. Sending love and hugs and welcomes, warm welcomes to everybody. Hello, hello, hello. What's going on? Oh my gosh. So I was just saying before everybody started that I lotion my hands so that you guys don't get, thank you. Yeah, this is my like fall color. Anybody who knows me knows that like I am the queen of ashy hands and ashy feet, which is really funny because I always have my nails done and my feet are always done, but I hate that lotioning business. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have like hot girl summers because I don't like to lotion. Fortunately, my legs and stuff like that are not super duper ashy. Boss lady, wagwan. Yeah, so I figured because I talk so much with my hands that, save you guys the ashiness, the dryness, and I lotion. See? Yay! Oh, God. So, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes and, hi. You guys listen to me. I own my truth. I feel no way saying, but it's funny because even when I go to my nail lady to get my nails done, she always wants to like put a little eyeliner thing on my hand. I'm like, Monica, she's like, no, she go like, baby, you can't go out with your hands dry, baby, or your foot dry, baby. And I'm like, I've been coming to you for almost 10 years. Do you know me? Anyway, so this is how you guys know that I love you, because I lotioned for you. I lotioned my hands for you. Who's ever sending love and hearts, thank you. I appreciate it. So tonight we are going to cover, Ashley! Tonight we're going to cover 3 topics. And so after talking to my business manager, I've decided that I'm going to go live regularly on Wednesdays, and it's going to be called Wet Wednesdays. And it's going to happen every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Of course, barring anything unforeseen. Hi, Dragon. So yeah, every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Wet Wednesdays, we're going to talk about a multitude of topics, whether it's sexual, personal, health-related, mental health-related, whatever it is, we are going to discuss it. So what's going to happen is every Tuesday, I'm going to put up a poll to find out what people want to talk about. And then based on the way that the numbers go, those are the subjects that we're going to talk about. Yeah, so I'm not limited to what the discussion topics are. It's just that in the interest of time, we'll probably cover 3, maybe 4 subjects, depending on how things go, because I think the time runs out at about an hour. Hi, my brother logged on. Oh, tears. Oh my goodness. Where's P? Where's baby P? Little P. So rules of engagement, house rules. I don't accept video request chats unless it's from somebody that I know, and it's something that's been pre-scheduled. Outside of that, if you try to video chat me or try to jump in on the live, I'm not going to accept it. If you're rude, you're going to get blocked. If you're rude to anybody else in the feed, you're going to get blocked. Kiki. I almost was going to sing the song, but I'm not because I hate the song. What's up, Kings with Kiki? My girl is in the house. No, Dragon, I'm not showing you my eyebrows. Sorry, that's not happening. Anyhow, so if you ask me anything that is like way off, and like last week, some guy asked me about my breasts. He actually called them titties, and those kind of conversations or that type of discussion, I'm not having that with anybody. So those are the house rules. Those are the rules of engagement. So without further ado, Christian, what's up? Yeah, I blocked those people. But yeah, welcome to Wet Wednesdays. So the first topic that we're going to tackle is the world of online dating. So I did a poll. There were six topics that everyone could choose from. So we settled on the world of online dating, boundaries, and rejection. Good men getting curved by women. So we're going to save that discussion for the last one. We're going to tackle the world of online dating. Now, I myself personally, I haven't used any dating apps like, I think it's like Tinder, Plenty of Fish. Oh, I was on Plenty of Fish once. I'll tell you that story. I try to think of what the other, I know, like, you know, most black folk, we don't use eHarmony. Some people do because it's a paid service. And then of course, you know, I'm from the days of, like, I'm going to date myself. I'm from the days of Black Planet, which is like 100 years ago. I feel like Black Planet was the original online hookup site, even though that's not what it was meant for. I think that's what it turned into. It's neither here or there. And then of course, you know, you come up to speed and you've got Instagram, and people are hooking up left, right, and center on Instagram, and having, like, you know, forging relationships and that kind of thing. In some cases good, in some cases not so good. People are also using it as a means of hooking up and what have you. So for me personally, yeah, Plenty of Fish. Woo, listen to me, Black Planet, and you know what's the craziest thing? So there's a gentleman that I met from Black Planet. So again, I'm dating myself. This is like 20 years ago, right? And to this day, we're still very good friends. There are actually 3 men that I met through Black Planet. Mr. Wright, what's going on? There are 3 men that I met through Black Planet that I'm actually still very good friends with. Wasted by Nita. Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. And nothing has happened, you know, since then. Like, you know, so, and it's one of those kind of weird things where when we first met, it was kind of like, you know, we thought we were going to hook up, and then we developed a friendship that just kind of stood the test of time. And to this day, we are still friends, which is kind of neat, right? But Black Planet was definitely the original meat market. Black Planet was the kickoff to online dating. But again, when Black Planet started, it wasn't meant to be that. Like, it was a social app. It was like the Black community social app. It was like the Black community's Facebook. You know what I mean? Kind of like Facebook took over and Facebook became what Black Planet should have been. But I think because there was so much hooking up, and then, you know, people are disgruntled because shit's happening behind the scenes, that it all just kind of fell apart. But that's what Black Planet was. Black Planet was like the hookup app. You know, back when you had like the little disc that you had to put into your computer and it did the dial up, and you waited for the noise to, for that noise, the dial up noise, and then you could log on. Anyway, so my personal thoughts on the world of online dating, much like with anything else, you know, you have to be careful. We always turn something into a hookup situation, right? It just always works out that way. And in some cases really good, and then in some cases it's not so good. It's like, it's really shitty. Because, woo, Nick, what's up, Guan, Nick? Yes, I'm showing my age. It's okay. I keep telling y'all I'm an old girl, I'm not a spring chicken. I look like a young ting, but I'm not a young ting. I'm an old girl. I'm an old girl. But anyways, so as far as the world of online dating and those apps, for me, I think it's much like with anything else. You have to be cautious, and you have to be careful, because people come under the guise of something else than what they are. And it's not to say that all people are like that, because you have people who are straightforward and they are upfront with who they are and what they're looking for. But you have other people who catfish, people who come under the guise of being one thing when they're something else. For me, what's most troubling about the world of online dating is it in some ways allows people to be really accessible to you. So Mr. Wright said, I met 2 women through Black Planet, but neither really worked out. Yeah, that was, Black Planet was a whole movement. But when you meet people online, you have to be mindful, because, you know, people can mask who they are. People can, you know, not necessarily a physical catfish, although physical catfish does sometimes happen, but people can mask who they are, and especially if they live in another city, if they live in another state. Yes, I'm sorry if I've triggered some of you. You know, it makes it difficult to really tune into who that person is and what their actual life is. You know, then you have other people, when you meet them, you know, as much as they talk about they're interested in a relationship, they're interested in building, they're interested in long term. Thank you for the love, whoever's sending hearts. Really and truly, they're not. They're just interested in fucking. For me, with the whole online dating, with any type of dating, just be upfront about what it is that you're looking for. You know, just be upfront about what it is your intention is. You know, don't try to trick someone into thinking that you want to be in a relationship with them when all you want is some ass. You know, you're probably more likely to get some ass if you just tell the person that that's what you're looking for. Or, you know, you get people who they ask you, and this is the thing that I really hate, people who ask you what it is that you're looking for in a relationship, and all of a sudden they become that thing. They become the ideal partner. They become the perfect mate. They become the perfect person who's courting you, whether it's a man or a woman. You know, if it's a woman and she says, you know, to ask the guy, like, what is he looking for? He's looking for wife material. He's looking for, you know, a good girl, a girl that stays at home, a girl that cooks, a girl that, you know, has interests and hobbies. Now you've got a woman who's never had an interest in anything, never had a hobby in her life, has no desire other than to be with this man because of his physical appeal and for his money and whatever it is that he has, right? So all of a sudden now she stays home. All of a sudden now she's cooking. All of a sudden now she's reading books and being quiet and patient because she really wants this man, but that's not her. And at some point she's going to revert back to what she is. And that's it. Be honest and let other people decide if they want to go along for the ride. For me, the biggest thing is about tricking people into something that's not actually that thing. And I don't know, you know, what it is with people and their fear around honesty. You know, at the end of the day, everybody has two choices. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. And tricking somebody into saying a yes when you have no intention of being their yes is a really shitty thing to do. And that's, for me, is the pitfall of online dating, because people create these profiles, people create these personas, people create these, you know, these lives and these worlds that are not true and that they're non-existent, and people fabricate selves and hide behind those lies, you know, and try to make them into truths when they're giving them to somebody else. And it's a bag of bullshit, you know. I've recently met somebody online, and so far it's going well, you know, but I'm also like a intuitive vibes kind of person, and I really pay attention to that. You know, if it feels off or it feels like something's amiss, I'm going to pull back until I figure out what that thing is. And we need to pay more attention to our intuition. We need to pay more attention to our gut feeling, because the truth is you don't get that feeling with everybody, you know, but that person that you do get it with, you should pay attention. If your body is speaking to you, pay attention. You know, people try to pass it off as, you know, oh, maybe it's paranoia or whatever the case may be. What is my zodiac sign? I'm a Scorpio. I don't know if that's relevant. But people, you know, people don't pay enough attention to what it is that they feel and maybe what it is that's triggering them, because they're, you know, they're trying to say, okay, well, you know, or the person makes you feel like you're being paranoid, or the person makes you feel like, oh no, that's just all you're just reading it wrong. Chances are you're not, because your radar doesn't go off with everybody. You know, if the last 3 people that you dated, your radar didn't go off, and then all of a sudden you're with this one person and warning bells are going left, right, and center, pay attention to that shit. Am I into stones and crystals? Yes and no. I say no because I don't know enough about them, but I say yes because I value the strength in stones and crystals. I value the spirituality that is connected and tied to stones and crystals. I myself, I don't know enough about them. I haven't done enough research or enough study. And definitely, it's really weird because when I was a much younger woman, I'm talking about my age, the house that I lived in with my roommate, stones and crystals were kind of part of the household, and saging every weekend was part of the household, as well as using incense and just sort of, you know, cleansing out the space and brushing out the bad vibes from the space. And somewhere along the lines that got lost as I became an adult and then became a parent and all that sort of stuff. But I'm finding as sort of life makes its full circle, as I'm approaching my my older years in life, they're becoming more part of the universe again. So I'm definitely trying to pay more attention to that, especially when it relates to like business, and when it relates to health and well-being, and it relates to the people that are around me. So, but anyway, so those are my thoughts on online dating. Be upfront with people if you are online dating. Ask the questions that you need to ask. If something feels off, trust that feeling. You know, and don't be afraid to question the person. And also don't be afraid to walk away. Like if you feel like someone is threatening your peace, it's not that serious. There are almost 8 billion people on the planet. Okay. So that actually very nicely segues into boundaries, how to set them and why they need to be set. Boundaries, especially in this day and age where people have so much access to you, it's really important to set boundaries. because people have so much access to you. And people don't always come with good intention. Every person that you meet, or people who are your friends, may not necessarily be your friends. And the people who you think are rooting for you may not necessarily be rooting for you. And the people who you think are good people because they've been in your life for a long time may not necessarily be those good people. Those might be the people who are actually dragging you down. Setting boundaries is really important for your own mental health and well-being. It's important for your own peace of mind. It's important for maintaining healthy and safe space with yourself, and it's important for just in your self-care maintenance. Hiding what you feel isn't going to allow anyone to know what you're thinking. It's true. But then you also have people who aren't interested in anybody seeing the real them. You have people who are content living their lives as someone else. And it's really interesting because I watched a movie recently called Taking Lives, where this young man was a twin. Their mother favored the twin until the twin died. And then she basically was completely disconnected from her second son, which is a twin. So he left home at 16, went on the road, and basically went on a killing spree for the next 20 years, taking people's lives. So he would kill somebody that looked similar to him in height and physical build, and basically just adopt that person's life and live as them until time ran out and then he became somebody else. So that's a bit of an extreme, but in the world of online dating, in the world of social media, you have people who do that using social media. You have people who create profiles that are not them in order to lure people into their world. You have people who create these personas, or what they call catfishing now, in order to lure somebody into their world. You have people who are afraid to speak their truth for fear of rejection or for fear of whatever it is, and they would rather pretend to be someone else than just be them because they're trying to lure somebody in. My question is, okay, so you lure them in, and now what? At some point in time, that facade cracks. At some point in time, that mask that you're wearing breaks. At some point in time, your truth has to come out, because nothing stays in darkness. It's impossible. Do I believe that everyone has different gifts? I absolutely do. We're all created differently, right? Everyone has something to offer, good and bad. People think that when someone comes into your life and, they've hurt you or they've done something wrong to you, as much as it hurts and as much as it sucks, they've taught you a lesson. They've given you a valuable gift. Hopefully what they've shown you is that you're stronger than you believe that you were. Hopefully what they've shown you is that, you've been able to reset the way that you make choices and the way that you make decisions. Hopefully they've been able to show you that, there's more than one lens that you see the world through other than your own. Hopefully they've been able to be a catalyst for some sort of change in your life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad. I believe wholeheartedly that every experience that you have in life is a good experience, even when it's a bad experience, because it teaches you, and it's all part of your growth and development. And without it, you wouldn't be the person that you are. Like, when I think about the things that I've gone through in my life, I wouldn't be this version of me had I not gone through those things. Man, you're asking some deep questions. We're on the subject of boundaries right now. We're going to come back to your question, sir. When the mask is removed and the authentic version is displayed, then what? Being transparent to some degree allows one to avoid humiliation. Some people don't think that far ahead, because some people feel like they're never going to get caught. And the interesting thing is, people who get caught, they dump the person who's caught them and they move on to somebody else who's unaware. And that's the whole thing. It's like I was saying with that movie that I watched, when someone kind of caught on to the fact that this person wasn't who he said he was, he dumped that persona and became somebody else and lived his life that way for 20 years until his mom spotted him. Of all things, he had migrated back to the original city that he lived in under this whole other personality, and his mother accidentally saw him and alerted the police to she's like, my son is dead, but I think I just seen him, and that kind of started this whole investigation or what have you. Anyways, back to boundaries. Boundaries are important for mental and emotional well-being. Boundaries are Lamborghini Mercy. Boundaries are part of a healthy existence. If you don't set boundaries for yourself, then anybody can basically come into your life and walk through your life and drag you through your own life. And you should never allow that to happen. The way that you set boundaries with people is you let people know up front what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, what's negotiable and what's non-negotiable, right? And you have to understand for yourself that it's okay to disagree, to agree to disagree with people, and people have a hard time understanding that concept. They feel like it has to be one or the other, and it doesn't. You know, I don't see things the way that you see them, but that doesn't mean that I can't appreciate the way that you see them. It's not going to change my mindset. It's not going to change the way that I think and feel about a particular thing, but it's given me another perspective that I can appreciate, plain and simple. While we're talking about boundaries, what are your thoughts on long distance relationships in relation to boundaries? So we talked about long distance relationships last week. So I have no issue with them. You know, for me, it's like, and maybe because I'm in a different place mentally thinking about it, you know, I feel like every relationship is work. Some relationships are harder than others, but if you put in the work and you put in the effort and you put in the time, you can make it work. And the reality is, with a long distance relationship, at some point, someone is going to want to move. You know, I also told a story of my ex's uncle, Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben and his wife lived in two separate cities for over 27 years and successfully raised a family until they both passed away. For them, it worked, having the space. They saw each other. So it was Montreal. Montreal is like a 6-hour drive from here. They saw each other on weekends. So one weekend he would go to her and one weekend she would come to him. You know, when she was having the babies, he would go there and spend time to support her and all that kind of stuff. But however they worked it out and however they figured it out, it worked for them. You know, would that work for everybody? Not necessarily. But for some people it does. Can sometimes your relationship feel so connected to the person? And that's the other thing too. Like there's also like a spiritual connection with people that sometimes you just know that's the person for you, and no matter what happens, you're going to make it work. You use the keyword I was thinking, mental. My wife lived in Florida and moved to Charlotte in 2 months, and it can work. It can. The greatest love story I know, my aunt and my uncle, they met and got married in 3 months, moved to England, lived in England for, I think, about 30 years, and then they migrated back to Jamaica and settled life. When he met her, she had just had a baby, right? Her child was 3 months old. When she met him, he had just had a child with another woman. It didn't work out, but he was doing, you know, the co-parenting thing or whatever. But he said when he saw her, he just knew. And they've been together for over 55 years, met and married in 3 months. So, you know, people think that it's not possible. It is possible. You know, you have people who are in relationships for 9-10 years, get married, and a month later they're getting divorced. And then you have people who meet and get married within 6 months to a year, and, you know, 5, 10, 15, 55 years later, they're still together. Can you actually feel when that person that you meet, that special person, to be the right one, when they hurt you, hurt? I'm not sure I understand the question. We have to circle back to that one. Anyways, we're straying off topic about boundaries. I know, you know, these discussions kind of go wide, but yeah, it's a great story. Like I tell people all the time, like they are the greatest love story that I know. And the craziest thing is they never had children together. Like she had her one daughter that went to England with them. His daughter stayed in Jamaica, and you know, he took care of her as best as he could and would send for her once or twice a year to come to England and all that kind of stuff. But met and married in 3 months, and it's probably 58 years now that they've been married, 58, 59 years that they've been married. You know, and that's just the way it is sometimes. Like I said, you know, sometimes you have relationships where, you know, you've been with the person for 10, 15 years, you get married and it just doesn't work out. And then you meet somebody and within 6 months you fall in love and, you know, you get married, like my brother. It wasn't 6 months, it was a little longer than that. And you have a beautiful family because, you know, you just know that that person is the person that is meant for you. You feel it in your core. And it's not just about, it's not about sex, you know, and that's the last thing on your mind. Seeing that person smile, seeing that person happy, hearing that person's voice, being in that person's presence and feeling their energy. Those are the things that are important to you. You know, that's the part that matters the most. It's not about the sex. It's like, you know, when you think about the person, everything inside of you misses that person. When they are emotionally hurt or physically hurt, you can actually feel the pain that they're feeling. Yeah, when you're that connected to the person, of course, you know what I mean? And that's the whole thing. It's like you wouldn't do anything to hurt the person because you know physically how much seeing them hurt would hurt you, you know, and you can feel the pain. My name is Roy. I am fantastic. How are you doing? So back to boundaries, setting boundaries and why. So we tackled the why it's important to set boundaries and the, you know, it's really straightforward. You let people know what your boundaries are. You let people know what is okay with you and what's not okay with you. So if you, let's say you meet somebody who, after conversation, you find out that this person is into polyamorous relationships. They like to be with more than one woman, and that's not okay with you. Don't feel like you can change the person by saying, yes, I'm okay with that. And then later on you find out that, they're not going to change because this is their truth. And now you feel like you're stuck in a situation because you said that you were okay with it and you didn't have any boundaries about it when in fact you actually do. Don't sabotage yourself. You know what I mean? Don't compromise yourself and don't sabotage yourself. Whatever your boundaries are and whatever your truths are, speak that, because if that person is not the person, there's somebody out there who is the person. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that way, and sometimes it feels like, it's taking forever for that person to come into your life. But, patience is sometimes key. Patience is a virtue. But with an emotional connection, hurt may come, but you lean on that connection. Can't throw it away if you believe in them. True. The thing is, in every relationship, there's going to be hurt. There isn't a single relationship that you have with a single person who has feelings who is not going to be hurt at some point in time. Whether it's intentional hurt or unintentional hurt, and hopefully it's unintentional hurt and you learn from that and it's not malicious hurt, there isn't a single person on this planet that you've ever been in a relationship, whether it's a parent, whether it's a child, a sibling, an aunt and uncle, your best friend, whoever, at some point in time, someone gets hurt by something that's said or someone's actions. It's not so much about the hurt, it's what you do about the hurt, if you understand what I'm saying, right? It's not so much about the hurt, like it's what you do to help the person recover from the hurt. It's what you do to make amends for the hurt. It's all of those things. People are going to get hurt, but it's the after effects of what happens with the hurt. If you just say, fuck it, whatever, they got hurt, get over it. No, you're an asshole, But if you say to the person, I am genuinely and sincerely sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let's have a conversation about it because I want to understand how this hurt you so that it doesn't happen again. That is dealing with the hurt effectively. Not giving a shit about the hurt, that's a completely different thing altogether. It just makes you a dick. Whether you're a man or a woman, it makes you a dick. Do I think, as in zodiac connection with love, that it's true or false? Man, you got me answering all kinds of universal questions or questions about the universe. To some degree, I do believe in the zodiac signs and I do believe in the zodiac connections. And then in other cases, I've been proven wrong. Like I've heard that Scorpios and Scorpios don't mix. But then I also know a Scorpio couple who have been together for 30 some odd years. I think it's really just about personality. I think it's about maturity. I think it's about worldviews. Because if you have two zodiac signs that are theoretically compatible, but they are not broad thinking enough, they're never going to get along no matter what it is that they do. Those kind of connections really depend on a lot of things. It's not just about the initial connection. It's about how you nurture that connection. You can say that, okay, so like for me, my compatible zodiac signs are Pisces, Cancer, and Virgo. And, if the relationships are not, Mo, you're not perfect for me. Stop the foolishness. If the relationships are not nurtured, it doesn't make a difference what the connection is. They're just not going to go anywhere. You have people who will put their all into a relationship. They will give everything to their last breath to help their relationship grow and to nurture it and to help it develop. Whereas you have other relationships where they just kind of sit down and say, okay, well, yeah, we're supposed to be compatible, so we're just supposed to work out. It doesn't work that way. There is no relationship on the planet, none, that doesn't take work. From what you deem to be the healthiest and happiest relationship to the worst. Like every relationship takes work. Even my aunt and uncle, for the gazillion years that they've been married, my aunt will tell me, like, there are times where she wanted to kill my uncle. There are times where, like, he'd say something and she'd be aggravated and feel like she wants to beat him over the head with a Dutch pot. But she doesn't because, one, because she's not trying to go to jail, but two, because she loves him And, you know, she understands that, like, sometimes they're going to frustrate the shit out of you. Sometimes you're going to get mad. Sometimes, you know, you'll want to beat them with a stick. But it's about communication. It's about conversation. It's about nurturing the relationships. I'm a Cancer. I've never dealt with a Scorpio woman, though my mother is one. Cancers are moody as fuck. It's me. I'm Cancer. See, because she loves you and she understands you. She loves you and she understands you. And that's the thing about it. It's like, you know, finding someone who's willing to work with you, finding someone who is willing to help you grow and develop is so amazing. Like when you buck that person, you know what I mean? And she sees all your rough, but she's willing to work with your rough because she sees the value in your rough and she knows underneath there is a diamond underneath there. Yo, there's nothing better than that. To me, that is love. Somebody who is willing to do the work with you. But the thing is, you have to be willing to do the work back, right? It can't just be that, okay, well, she loves me so I can, you know, fuck around and do whatever I want to do and then say sorry from time. No, it doesn't work that way. If she's willing to work with you, if she's willing to stick with you, if she's patient and she loves you and she's willing to help you grow, you need to help her back, right? Help her help you. You can't have her do all the work. You know, when you see that you have somebody good in your corner, you can't let them do all the work. Help them help you. Cancers are huge assholes, but they love hard. They do. They love hard and they love long. Like when they love you, they love you, love you. Like love you gone to bed. Anyways, so we completely digressed and strayed off the topic of boundaries altogether. So I think the next, we're going to jump right into, I know this one is one that we've been waiting for. So good men getting curved by women. So my good friend, Mr. Wright, submitted this question. And so when I initially read this, my first thought was, what is a good man? Yeah, we're way off topic, so we're just going to skip it all together. We're going to skip boundaries altogether. So my question initially, Mr. Wright, was, what is a good man? Because, you know, when I hear things like, you know, you've got good women who are being treated bad, and then you've got good men who are being treated bad, you know, my question is, my nails, there you go. The claws. I don't know what everyone with these nails. And it's really funny, people will ask me stupid shit like, oh, how do you do anything with those nails? Like, if you know how old I am and if you ever seen how big my kids are, because they don't eat like processed food, they like cooked food. So you have to know to cook, and there's a whole bunch of other things that I do. I have my own business, but we're not going to talk about that. But yes, they function. They're not just for sexual purposes. Although, you know, wrapped around certain things, they make it. Anyways, we digress. I digress. Mr. DJ Dark Fada, stop it. Thank you. Okay, so we're off topic, way off topic, but I am, like, you know, when you have the memes where, like, they're like, you know, that girl that gets her nails and her feet done no matter what time of year it is, that's me. Like, that's my self-care, that's my self-pampering, that's the thing that I do for myself that makes me feel good. It's not really about anybody else, or, you know, as much as they're pretty dick beaters, it's really not even about that. It's just because, yeah, they're pretty and I like them. Okay, so yes, rejection sucks. Men are worse at handling rejection, I think, than women are. I think it's, I don't know. Like, I know that we're built differently. But anyway, so the initial question is talking about good men getting curved by women. So my first question was, and my first thought was, what is a good man? You know, because you have people who believe that they're good people because there are certain things that they don't do, but then those people are really toxic people because of things that they do, not do, but they do. You know, it's, I had seen a meme once that said, you know, like, oh, I'm a good woman, I stay at home, you know, I don't cheat, I cook, I clean, you know, whatever the case may be. But then when you look at that woman, she gossips all the time. You know, she trashes people all the time. She doesn't work. She doesn't go to school. She doesn't do anything that's, you know, uplifting. She's not interested in anything other than sitting down and studying her man. Anyways, you get the point of what I'm saying. You know, people have this misconception of what a good man is or what a good woman is based on what they think. But when you look at it kind of on a global scale, what does that really mean? You know, because you feel like you're a good man doesn't mean that you're a good man or a good fit for that person. You know, years ago, a friend of mine, Marcus, was dating this woman, and they had this on again, off again relationship. And every time things started to derail and go off again, You know, she would like always dress sexy. She would always, you know, have her hair up. She would suck his dick. She would cook. She would do all these things. And when he settled back into the relationship, she settled back into who she really was, which was sweatpants, which was hair in a ponytail, which was no makeup, which was no sexy clothes, big old drawers, maybe cook once a week. And again, every time he started to decide that he was done with the relationship, she would do the sexies to bring him back in. And I had to say to him one day, you know, after 5 years of this, why do you stay? And he's like, oh, well, she's a good woman. I said to him, because she's a good woman doesn't make her a good woman for you. And he actually paused because I don't think he understood what I said. And I said it to him again, she's a good woman, but that doesn't make her a good woman for you. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's great. You know, you being with her or not with her doesn't change the fact that she's great. She's just not great for you, meaning she's not a great fit for you, meaning the things that you're looking for in a woman, in a relationship, in a companion, in a long-term loving relationship, a wife, she's not them. And nothing that you do is going to make her into that because she's just not wired that way. And that's okay. You have to meet people where they are. And if that person is not wired for you the way that you need them to be, let them go. Stop trying to make people fit into a mold that they're not meant to fit into, you know? And again, like I asked the question, how do you know that you're a good man? Like, what makes you a good man? Sorry, questions. Wouldn't the question you were trying to answer a tad bit relative? I don't know what that means. Sorry. Do you all even deal with rejection as a gender? I'm sure the answer is yes, but really. She trapped the heck out of him. The term curve, I've never really understood. If a woman isn't interested, then it's just that. If a woman has a specific type, doesn't mean that you were curved. Very true. That's just it. You know what I mean? Again, it's a question of, you know, because you think you're a good person means that a particular woman should like you. No, it doesn't mean that. You know, because you don't fit into the mold or the ideal of what she's looking for, it doesn't mean that you're not a good man. It just means that you're not what she's looking for and you're just not a good fit for her. You know, that's what it is. So it's like, rejection is part of the dating world. Rejection is part of the dating life. You know, again, with almost 8 billion people on the planet, not everybody's going to like you. And that's okay. You know, that's the thing that I tell myself. That's what I raise my children with, the understanding that it's okay for people to not like you. You know, you have people who believe that, you know, everybody has to like them. Like, oh my God, something's wrong with me because this person doesn't like me. Or, oh my God, you know, they don't like me. Like, is something wrong with me? This young lady that I had taken into my home, she had a real issue with that. And there was a person that she worked with, and this woman just wouldn't talk to her. Not for nothing. The woman wasn't mean to her. They would exchange pleasantries, but she went out of her way to make this woman talk to her and befriend her. And when the woman finally talked to her and they were at a place of what she felt like was acquaintanceship, she stopped talking to the woman. And when I asked her why, she said she couldn't deal with the fact of knowing that somebody didn't like her. You know, I told her that she needed therapy for that because that was a whole bigger issue and an underlying issue. But the reality is nobody likes rejection. I don't know one single person that likes rejection. It's just some people deal with it better than other people deal with it. You know, if I'm talking to someone and I'm feeling the person and the person's not feeling me and they're like, you know, I just want to be friends with you. Yes, I've been rejected. Am I going to sit and cry? Maybe. Am I going to wallow in it? Absolutely not, because it's their right. You know, everyone has that choice. The same way that you have the choices and the same way that you have the rights is the same way that anybody else does. You know, for you to feel like, again, like my brother said, you know, that you're being curved because a woman chose someone else or because she's chosen to not take you on for whatever the reasons are. Maybe you're just not her type, or she's just not interested, or she just wants to be friends with you. It's not necessarily rejection. Rejection feels like your heart was put in a blender, but it's actually a possible blessing many times. True. Do you believe that, I'm not so sure, Mr. Rob LC, Capricorn, goat. You're stuck on zodiac signs and we're kind of trying to stay on topic right now, so I could circle back to that. My brother, Mr. E. Now, a good man can be determined by self-evaluations. I may think I'm the best man on earth. Being a good man or a woman comes from being completely transparent from within. It's rare a woman puts themselves in a positive or even circumstance to be rejected. I'm not sure what that means, because I think that's bullshit. Excuse my mouth. There are women who put themselves out there. Listen to me. I know personally women who have put themselves out there and put their neck on the chopping block for their neck to get chopped. And they took a chance and they took a risk thinking that, maybe it could work out with the person, and it didn't. And, to use the term curved, they got friend zoned. People take that as rejection as well. I don't like statements when people say things like that. Oh, a woman never does that, or a man never does that. No, it's people. It has nothing to do with the gender. Like, if you tell me that you've talked to every woman on the planet and every woman on the planet has said to you, no, I haven't, put myself out there to be rejected by somebody, then I could maybe see eye to eye with you. But if you only know 5 or 10 women and none of those women have ever put themselves out there to be rejected, that's the 5 or 10 women that you know. That's not every woman. You know what I mean? I've put myself out there to somebody and was rejected. People would think like, oh my God, you? Yeah, that shit happens. You know what I mean? There are people who you think are beautiful and wonderful and fantastic and popular and this, that, and the third, and they put themselves out there, and guess what? They get rejected. Their shit gets shut down too. It has nothing to do with gender. It's just about the person, Women like to reject. Some feel like a man has to try and try and try again to get you if he really wants you. Show me you want me as much as I want you. Again, I cannot agree with that statement, And okay, so let me say this. I understand when men make statements like that, they're making it from a place of hurt. Just like when women make statements like that, they're saying it from a place of hurt or a place of personal experience. But you cannot put that label or that tag on the entire gender of women or the entire gender of men, because it's unfair and it's not right. Make it specific to your personal experience. Don't broadly paint the brush across the human species, or the species of female and the species of male. It's unfair for you to do that, and I can't agree with that, and I can't side with that decision or that choice to say that. Women may not get rejected at first, but a bad relationship is just bad. Women hate to lose their valuable time. People hate to lose it. Please tell me any man that you know that likes to think that he's wasted his time, wasted his money, wasted his energy on a relationship that wasn't working out with a woman. It's not specific to, it's non-gender specific. It's people. Women actually get hurt just as much as guys, but what we see on social media is more men who get curved or rejected. No. Again, I don't agree with that. It depends on where you're looking. I see shit all the time where women are talking about they got friend zoned or they got curved or they got rejected. What's the popular opinion, or what's more on and popping, is to say that men are the one who get curved and men are the ones who get rejected. And that's just not the case. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to call people's names, but I can tell you right now 5 women that I know who liked a man and got rejected. So again, people are speaking their truths from their perspective, and I understand that, right? It's for me, I like to think in the broader scope. I don't like to necessarily pigeonhole things to one gender, regardless of what the discussion is. It's a people conversation. It's not about the gender. And yes, I know we start out by saying good men getting curved by women, and then the conversation is, okay, well, what's a good man? Because you think that you're a good man doesn't mean that you're a good man for that person. You may think that you have fantastic qualities. You may really do. But then if you're getting curved by so many women, maybe you need to kind of take a gander at, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I saying? Am I coming off too strong? Am I coming off too sexual? Am I coming off too whatever? You know what I mean? I know guys who feel like they're, on date number 2, they should be showing you their penis. Nah, boss. Nobody's here for that. You know what I mean? I know men who have approached me and I know what their dick looks like before I know what their first name is. I know men who I know what their dick looks like before I know what their last name is. Again, nobody's here for that. That's the kind of shit that'll get you rejected. Cut that out. We've moved past a world where people actually like to talk. We've moved past a world where, it's like people are struggling with how to talk to other people and how to communicate with people, that it's absolutely crazy. So it's like they're pulling every trick out of the bag and every tactic that they can think of. People don't go for walks anymore and just talk about shit. What did you do today? How was your day? What are you interested in? What do you like? What are your future goals? People don't genuinely and sincerely talk about those things. Everybody's in a rush to fucking get married tomorrow. Yeah, I said not boss. Nobody's here for that. But it's true. Everybody's in a rush to get married tomorrow. Like, people don't want to build relationships. They want to know, what can you do for me now and today? You know, are you going to suck my dick today? You know, if it's a guy, for a girl, you know, which bill are you going to pay for me tomorrow? It's like everybody wants to know what you can do for me today, and everybody's trying to get married tomorrow. I feel like people are so lost and confused about that, you know, people are just getting rejected left, right, and center because it's like they're looking for the next best thing. You know, but my thing is like, what are you giving me that would make me interested enough to like sit and talk to you and say, okay, you know, there was a gentleman that I met online, a different gentleman. And within the third conversation, it's like, you know, he wants to bring me to his house to meet his kids. I'm sorry, what? No, I'm not trying to do that. Brethren, I don't even know your friggin' last name, but you want me to come meet your kids for what reason? For what reason? Things like that. Like, you're in a rush to get married to me tomorrow because like, oh my God, you're so nice and you're so articulate and you're so pretty and you know, you've all these things going on for you. Okay, well, that's all well and good. Still doesn't mean I want to meet your kids or meet your family. You know what I mean? I'm trying to still feel you out and get to know you. You know, things like that will make me curve a person. You know, when it's too like, oh my God, you're the sun and you're the moon and you're the stars and, you know, I see sparkles coming out of your ass and all this kind of stuff like that. It's all fantastic. Could we have a real conversation? Can you reel it back a little bit? Again, what's your first name? What's your last name? What are your interests? You know, just general conversation. Like, I always think to myself, like my aunt and my uncle, like, what were they talking about that they just decided that they needed to get together at 3 months and get married and move and start a life together? Like, what I want to ask, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask my uncle, like, what did you lyrics auntie with? What did you say to auntie where she was like, yes, I want to marry you and move to England with you, right? Sorry, too many people have horrible vocabularies and minds clouded in self-benefit. True. I don't bring anybody around. Listen to me. My kids are big and they can hold their own. I still don't bring nobody around them. Not until I know the person. Or if I feel safe about them, then yes, they can come around. Because that's just, people entrench other people in their lives entirely too quickly. And for the wrong reasons. Some people do it for like show. Some people do it, you know, because they want to just be with somebody, you know. Like I know women who are career wives. So they get divorced and like a year and a half later, they're getting married to somebody else because they need to be Mrs. Somebody. Everybody's in too much of a rush. You know, we don't spend enough time actually taking the time to get to know people. And for me personally, when I feel like a man is coming on too strong, you know, curved is not the term, but whatever the term is, I'm not here for that. You know, my question always is like, what is the rush? Like, slow down. Where are you going somewhere? You know, like, are you going off to war where we need to like fuck today and get married tomorrow so like I can send you letters in the military? This is not back in the days like Vietnam where you're gone off to war and you may not come back, sir. Mind you, that's you know, has happened in recent times, but it's not one of those situations. Like, you're not going overseas, you're not moving away. And if that's the case, then I really don't need to be that invested in you. That's just kind of crazy to me. Dating seems to be secondary to sex as the new romantic admissions process. Dating seems to be secondary to sex. Okay. Yeah, I need to ask my uncle about that, what he said. Can you actually be attracted to a certain race or a certain gender just because you've been hurt by another race or another gender? That's a good question. I think that when people are deeply hurt, it can sometimes shift their minds mentally and emotionally. And I'm sure you're alluding to, you know, a woman being in a relationship and being, you know, badly hurt by a man and deciding she's never going to date men again, so she only dates women, or a man that was in a relationship. This happens probably less often, or a man that was in a relationship and was devastated by a woman and decides that he's only going to date men, or he's not going to date black women if he was with a black woman or whatever. People do make choices based on hurt. It's not here or there for me to say whether it's right or wrong, but people do make choices based on hurt. That much I know. I worked in social services for 22 years, something y'all don't know about me. And I came across that a lot in doing, you know, counseling and community work and all that kind of stuff. You have people who have been in situations where they were badly abused and decided that they were never going to date a specific gender again, or they were never going to date a specific race again. People make decisions based on hurt all the time. You know, people make substance abuse choices based on hurt. People make physical outward choices based on hurt. Scarring themselves, changing their hair all the time. Tattoos, piercings, whatever it is. People have different ways of expressing their hurt. As long as it doesn't put you in the hospital and it doesn't put you in jail, whatever those choices are that you've made based on hurt are your choices and are personal to you. Maybe not attracted, but trying something new. That too. They may decide, like I know someone that, she went through a bad breakup and she decided like she was done with men, and for 2.5 years she dated a woman. And they had a good relationship, but she realized that her attraction, her true nature, the strongest part of her was attracted to men, and she had tried to make it work and kind of gone the route of being bisexual, but the woman that she was with was straight lesbian and she wasn't happy with that situation, and so she left the relationship, and then the person that I know kind of eventually made her way back to dating men, and once her confidence in her choices and her own personal choices was restored, she was better. It is romantically catastrophic for so many men to be sending dick pics to women. It's so common that women are overly cautious about opening DMs. Yeah, I say dick pics are the new introduction of the world, and I just don't understand. I had a gentleman months ago send me a video where he was finishing. He was getting himself to a happy ending. And so I watched the video because I'm a pervert. And at the end of the video, he says, addressing me, he says, "Do you see what you made me do?" And I was like, in my mind, because I didn't reply. Sorry. I didn't reply to the video. I didn't reply to the person. But in my mind, I'm like, how the fuck did I make you do that? Because I'm thinking to myself, like, I post stuff that's provocative, and sexually tasteful. But I don't post anything that's like that, but then again, different people like different things. So, it could be my feet, it could be my hands, it could be my thighs, it could be my smile, it could be whatever. But in my mind, this is the way that I process things. I'm thinking, like, I haven't posted anything for you to be beaten off there, buddy. So you saying that anything is my fault? Nah, boss. You took that shit on all by yourself. But yeah, dick pics are like the wave of the future. It's like if you show your penis, then she can decide whether or not you're interesting enough for her to want to talk to you, which is just weird and backwards. Is it wrong to actually like another race of your own kind because she was hurt by the same race as you? You know what? When it comes to matters of the heart, there's nothing wrong. For me, the things that are wrong when it comes to matters of the heart are when people make generalized statements like, all black women have attitudes, or all black men are aggressive, or, Latinas are better than whatever race because whatever. When people make generalized racial statements about relationships and what race is better than another because of hurt, that's the stuff that I can't support. A person's choice to date another race because they've been hurt, that's entirely up to them. For me, what crosses the line is when they make generalized statements about that race being better than the race that they were hurt by, because I think that's just a bag of bullshit. How do you just send a pic out of nowhere? Listen to me. It happens on a very regular basis. Not just to me, but probably to every woman that I know. But consequently, there are guys that I know. What's up, sis? There are guys that I know that receive vag pictures all the time, and they're thoroughly grossed out. So, I don't know. Have I ever sent a vag pic? I have. Randomly to somebody that I wasn't already talking to and trying to get to know? Absolutely not. Have I ever sent a vag pic of my own accord? Absolutely not. I've sent vag pics as a request if I'm talking to the person, I'm feeling the person, and it becomes that kind of conversation. But outside of that, nah, that can't be my lead off. I barely like to tell people my name, much less for them to know what my body parts look like. Nah, boss. We're not there for that at all. at all. I love being a gentleman and acting like I have some sense. We appreciate you. 88th Wonder, we appreciate you. Mr. Wright, most men are heavily enslaved by sexual thought, so that is an automatic result. I think people are in this day and age, we live in a hyper-sexualized society because everything is accessible at your fingertips. Years ago, it used to be, when there was no internet, you'd go on the late night channel that was all fuzzy and whatever and try to like close your eye one side and cock your head to the left or to the right to try to see, the people that were doing it on the porn channel. Once the internet came into existence, the gloves came off. We live in a hyper sexualized age, just like we live in a hyper violent age where there's just things that don't shock people anymore and don't faze people anymore. So for me, like, I equate it to, when you see people fighting and people are standing around and videotaping the fight instead of trying to break up the fight, that's the world that we live in now. We live in a world now where showing your ass and twerking naked and showing pictures where you've blotted out the vagine and they're not artistic or creative pictures. It's what runs the world and what rules the world. And it's really interesting because I remember somebody saying that, clothed pictures get less likes than half naked pictures. Like on my page, it's 50-50. I post pictures where I'm in, like a sports bra and a pair of rat pants where really you're seeing like my stomach and my cleavage because my cleavage doesn't really go anywhere. And it gets the same amount of likes as, a picture where I'm, where like the mermaid picture where I'm laying on my side, the tattoo picture that I did for Sick Ink, it's kind of 50-50, like at least on my page it's 50-50, but then you do have some people that feel like, I know there was one girl that I used to follow, she wasn't getting the traction that she wanted. And so all of her pictures started to become mostly nude pictures. And then she got lots of traction, lots of. Sorry, trying to scroll back down. I actually recently had 2 women vag photos and boob. Oh, lucky you. Sorry. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You have to let me know. Oh, and it wasn't thrilling. Ugh. Okay, well, I don't know what to... I can't help you with that one. But it has become the norm, which is, sad to some degree or other. It's like, but then, at some point we'll have to talk about it too, or get into the discussion about it, but it's like the stripper culture has dominated the world now. The stripper culture has dominated social media. The stripper culture has basically dominated, I don't want to say moral values because different people value different things. But the world is definitely not like it was, like I said, pre-internet where things were so accessible. It's like now, what's built on success is like, how many followers you have, how many people are interested in you, how many people, like your pics and all that sort of stuff. Hey, see, what's up? It's okay. Glad to see you. It's that kind of thing, definitely the pictures that are half naked absolutely get more likes. But then the interesting about that too, I find it's like those, guys will say, or men will say, oh, I would never marry a woman like that. But then you see those same guys on that woman's page liking her shit left, right, and center. And it's really funny. I had a discussion with a gentleman that was interested in dating me. And then when I'm kind of looking at his history as I went in on a creep mode, looking at his history and the pictures that he likes and the comments that he makes, I'm like, fam, you're making those same comments to me, but you're on some next woman's page that has her pom-pom all outside and her bati all outside and her breasts all outside, and you're telling her how beautiful she is and, oh my God, you'd love the opportunity to talk to her. And so when I addressed it with him, he was like, oh no, those are just trivial comments. When I say it to you, I actually mean it. In my mind, I'm like, stop trying to feed me horse shit. Are you crazy? Like, for real? It's not necessary to do all that. Like, to me, that's just entirely too much and just way above and beyond unnecessarily, right? Are men perverts? You know what? I'll tell you a funny thing. I think women are bigger perverts, to tell you the honest God truth. And the reason I say that is because it's like, okay, so me now, when I first started getting dick pics, right, I was like all offended and like, oh my God, why are they sending these things to me, and that kind of thing. And then as time went on and I started to get dick pics, I'd be like, let me send this to my girlfriends and see what they think. Is this some good dick, I think honestly, I think women are bigger perverts just because I think that there's so many more of us. We just have way more access to I'm just going to leave that there. I'm not going to say anything. But I think that women are the bigger pervs. I really do. The artist in me loves when women still leave something to the imagination. Absolutely. I was told by a woman that women are bigger perverts than dudes. We are. I will wholeheartedly admit that. Because you know what I think it is for women too? Because our minds are much broader thinking, like a woman will look at another woman's ass, a woman will look at another woman's breasts and have whatever thoughts she has. And she'll look at a man, she'll look at a man's ass, she'll look at his dick, she'll look at his chest, his beard, and all that sort of stuff and have whatever thoughts she's had. Men are not looking at other men. They're looking at women. Except, you know what I mean. Excuse me. Men who are gay, men who are bisexual, they'll look at both. But for the most part, when talking about heterosexual men and heterosexual women, women will look at other women. Dudes won't look at other dudes. You know what I mean? Like I remember when we went to the Dominican 2 years ago. Oh, I'm running out of time. Quick story. When I went to the Dominican 2 years ago, I was in the pool bouncing around, and when my girlfriends came and she grabbed my breast to help them bounce up and down in the water. Anyways, we are running out of time. I wanted to thank everyone for joining. Again, we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. It's going to be Wet Wednesdays. I will be back next week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Thank you all. I had fun.